I'm a watchdog. I'm in a watchdog group that catches cheating politicians, and the internet seems to be a big fan of our work, so I thought I'd share some of it with you on YouTube. The housing crisis gets worse every year because there are politicians who just straight up cheat, and I have video proof. In California, every city has a housing element. It's part of what's called the general plan. It's the city's way of saying, this is how we're planning to accommodate the growing population of our city. So part of the housing element is a literal list of all the sites where people could build more housing. And it's like street addresses, right? It's that specific. It's crazy what cities think that they can get away with. In San Diego, they listed this active cemetery that is currently interring people as a site that could be developed in their housing element. In South Pasadena, they listed their own city hall. And not because they planned on selling City Hall to a developer. It just got listed with no intention to develop it into residential housing at all. Many cities will try to pick addresses that won't get built. They'll intentionally pick lots that they don't think will get developed because they don't want housing to be built. And you might think, that's a really bold claim, Ryan. How do you think you can just assert that you know what these city councils are trying to do? Well, lucky for us, they occasionally confess to it on camera.
Okay, so I disagree with one earlier statement that Councilmember Chang made, which was you should put it where it's going to get built. I actually think you should put it where HCD will approve it, and you hope it's not going to get built. So that's my view of that.
That's called cheeking.
That's been an effective strategy.
Following it, it's been. I must say that.
I think we should stop.
I'll take it back.
All of the sites of discussion about
all of the sites I picked last time were not built.
Yeah. Enough said.
The site that the Triple C's picked was built. I'm going to leave it at that.
They literally describe what they're doing as picking sites that will get approved but not get developed. They literally say it's cheating. They literally say that it's been very effective in the past. So my friend saw this video, instantly created a watchdog group. Because we think if we had been in that room, if we had had a pro-housing advocate in that room to hold them accountable, like the 8 years after 2013 would have been totally different. And so now we're watching all of them. We sit in Zooms like all week and attend a lot of different city councils and planning commissions to hold them accountable for their housing element. And from now on, they will not get away with this. So for example, Fullerton just submitted its housing element without a site inventory. They're 6 weeks late for past the deadline, and they submit their housing element, and that the site inventory says, we're gonna come up with a site inventory. I'm paraphrasing, but I'll link to it in the description below, and you can see for yourself. They've turned in the assignment 6 weeks late, and instead of actually having the assignment done, it just says, we'll do the assignment at a later date, we'll do community outreach and put something together for the future. But we were watching, and so we're gonna hold them accountable. Another example, South Pasadena claimed that they'd build 1,000 ADUs in their original housing element. That's like, South Pasadena is not very big. That's more than 1 in 5 of the single family homes building an accessory dwelling unit. This one breaks my heart because I love ADUs. But here we have a city using ADUs to get out of its planning requirements, right? Like that city is gonna grow. People are moving there. They have a responsibility to be stewards of the land and public resources. They have a responsibility to allow people to build housing of varying sizes, affordabilities, and densities. Instead of taking that responsibility seriously, they are using ADUs, my passion, to kind of get out of a requirement. And that's tragic, right? Because it means instead of doing the work, they're just saying, oh, ADUs will fix it. Another great example, Canyon Lake. So in the site inventory, you have to be really specific about which sites could potentially be developed as affordable. So that means that they're below a certain percentage of the area's median income. It was like all these complicated formulas. But you have to be super specific. And they have picked 3 sites where they say that's where all the affordable housing will go. And then they got SB2 grants, which come from the state, they come from taxpayer money, that allow them to plan for developing below market rate housing. And then they spent that money, 6 figures, on hiring consultants. And when the consultants came back and presented to the city, they started talking about all these amenities that you would not necessarily relate to affordable housing or below market rate housing. Rooftop restaurants, golf cart parking. The consultants presented, and they didn't have any of the key words like AMI, area median income, affordability, below market rate. What the consultants did have was this amazing slide about the luxury amenities, which I can't get over it. I have a juvenile sense of humor, and they should use spell check. And if you want more examples of cheating politicians, you can binge watch these videos. They're real short, and they kind of feature all the craziest stuff I see. And if you want to volunteer, there's information in the description below where you can join our watchdog group.